Right, it's Ron Goodall, FightHype.com. I'm here with one of the prominent promoters in boxing, Dmitry Salita. How's it going?
It's going great. A lot going on over the weekend.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you getting back to me on very quick response time because some stuff happened last night and wanted to go straight into it. You're Claressa Shields promoter and you worked with her many, many years. And you have a big scene in the Detroit boxing scene, so you know Alycia very well. So just first off, what's your thoughts on their back and forth that happened last night?
So last night was just a continuation of what has been happening for a long time. And I know Alycia for a long time. Clarissa knows Alycia for a long time. We've invited her to our fights, given her uh, always great treatment. Early on from Clarissa's career, when women's boxing was still not getting the recognition that it deserved, Clarissa always uh, did her best to get Alycia exposure and interviews and make sure that she was at the fight and get all the things that fighters do to help each other. So uh, a couple of months ago, when this whole thing started, and Alycia called out Clarissa in a way that she has done, it was really surprising to me and disappointing because of our friendship and relationship over all of these years. And I felt that us knowing each other, she could have called Clarissa or myself and say, I have this plan. I'm on suspension. You know, I want to stay relevant. Can we, maybe we can talk about doing a fight together in Detroit, something like that. And then things can happen, right? None of that happened, and the way this happened uh, was not tactful from where I come from and where I stand. And I just don't think that this was the right way to go about it. With that being said, feels like there's a lot of interest in this fight happening, and like I tweeted today, to quote Don King, there's 99 ways to say no and only one way to say yes. So we say yes. My phone is open. We can make the fight today. It's easy. It's an easy deal to make. Let's do it.
You know, referencing some of the tweets that you said, there was, I guess, when Alycia was on the DAZN being interviewed, you put complete PR stunt, absolutely no substance to the call out. And then you also followed up by saying, it's like Canelo calling out Tyson Fury to fight him at 180. We reached out about making the fight at 154, and there was zero interest. This is all
That is
true.
that's all the truth. It's simple. We can make a soap opera out of it, but I'd like to keep things simple. And so when Alycia started doing the talk, Clarissa told me make the fight. So she was still in suspension, and it was like, to me, it was just like kind of like I was kind of bewildered because she's still in suspension and she got other things to worry about. Why is she attaching herself to Clarissa? She's like three-weight divisions or four-weight divisions below her. It doesn't make any sense. And anyway, I followed up. I called our managers, talked to them, no interest. I didn't even get a call back in the beginning, but I kept calling and texting, no interest. And then a couple of weeks ago, they ran to each other somewhere again. Dmitry, let's make the fight happen. And Clarissa, from the beginning of her career, said, Dmitry, make the biggest and the best fights happen. We need to make women's boxing big, and that's what she has done from the beginning of her professional career. Look at her pro debut; she fought Franchon Cruz, and has done significant big time fights ever since then, including when uh, 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 when uh, Alycia fought on her undercard in the UK when Clarissa beat Savannah Marshall in that historic fight night, uh, at in London. So it's easy to make this fight. We've said yes. We want to make the fight. I've reached out. Her representatives told me we're not interested, not now, maybe in a couple of years, maybe this, maybe that. And then I saw, like, on this, when they were going back and forth, she said 147. So that's why I called. It's not a real call out. If you want Clarissa, it's physically impossible for Clarissa to come down 147 pounds. That's why it's like Canelo saying, "Oh, Anthony Joshua, you're scared of me, man. Come on, man. Let's fight 185 pounds. Let's do it, man. Come on, man. Why you don't want to fight me? Let's do it, man. I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion." It's ridiculous because it's unrealistic. The lowest Clarissa can make, and she hasn't made that weight in many years, is 154 pounds. That's the reality. And it's the known reality because I've said this to people that are working with Alycia, and it's like obvious. So if you want to make the fight happen, if you're truthful about it, and and you put your money where your mouth is, then that's the absolute lowest way that Clarissa can make. It can be for significant titles, for undisputed. Let's make it happen. Uh, and if not, stop attaching yourself to Clarissa and using her name to promote her. And yesterday's interview was about Alycia, and she was on Shaq's podcast talking about Clarissa. Every opportunity she gets, she attaches herself to Clarissa. So if that's the case, if the fight can happen, it will be a great event. I believe that it'll sell out at Little Caesars in Detroit. One of another big fights to help rebuild that historic boxing scene. Would love to make it happen. Easy deal to make. And again, there's 99 ways to say no, only one way to say yes. My phone is open. All of our people know where I'm at, know myself, know Mark Taffet. Easy fight to make. We can make it today. So I'm sure the Zone will be very interested in making the fight happen. Clarissa is interested in making the fight happen. And if Alycia is interested in making it happen, just let's make it happen. That's it. There's nothing to talk about.
And I guess, and I'm on Alicia's side, and she said that because of the 147 call out, or discussing 147s, that she heard that, hey, Clarissa was willing to fight Cyborg at 147. So if she's willing to fight
Absolutely.
her, what is there any truth to what was
No,
the?
I don't. I mean, there was never any real discussion of Clarissa fighting Cyborg. Did Clarissa and Alycia obviously has gotten progressed to a real level because of Alycia, because Alycia keeps calling out Clarissa. So if it's a PR ploy, that's just to say Clarissa fight me 147, well, let's make 135 while we're at it. It's unrealistic. It's not a call out, and I hope that the media can call her out on it and call her out on the BS and on the falsehood of the call out, because it's not a real call out. If you want to take the risk and go up to junior middleweight, there is a significant amount of risk, and if she would do it, I respect the fact that she would challenge herself to go up in weight and fight Clarissa at junior middleweight. That's a respectable move to make. Then all the words are backed up. But if you're just talking about an unrealistic scenario, then it's false marketing and it's false PR and it's clickbait, and that's not what real fighters do. It's not the right thing to do. It's not good for the sport of boxing to make this false attention, to make fireworks, attract fans, get the attention, go on Shaq's podcast, talk about the fight, when in your mind you never really wanted to make it happen. So if you want to make it happen, we can make it happen. It's like easy. It could be done overnight. It's just a matter of Alycia saying yes to the fight. Don't talk. What's the saying? Less talk, more action.
Something like that, yeah.
So so let's get some action going.
Obviously Clarissa's, many people feel, and I can agree that Clarissa is essentially what they quote in boxing the A side, right? The one that will
Forget
probably.
about Clarissa. Is the Clarissa. If everything stops today and Clarissa retires, she's the GOAT. She's the greatest woman fighter of all time. She's accomplished more than any woman has ever accomplished, and most men have ever accomplished. And through her story, her personality, her Olympic gold medals, and uh, her drive to make women's boxing big and great, women's boxing has grown to absolutely incredible heights. And it is mostly because of Claressa Shields. She's the first woman to headline uh, cable network television in the United States, which was Showtime back in 2017, our first fight together, which was only her second professional fight. She fought Franchon Cruz in her pro debut. She won a world title in her fourth professional fight against Nikki Adler, who was 17-0. She fought Christina Hammer. She fought so many pound for pound fighters, and she just smashed them. So Clarissa puts her money where her mouth is all the time. She walks the walk and she talks the talk. And that's what made women boxing grow, because when you talk about it, you got to do it, especially in the birth stages of something. If you talk about it, you got to follow up what your promises are. And if Alycia is just talking and doesn't want to make it happen, I feel that there should be some responsibility and some accountability for that.
Well, I guess when I was mentioning about the idea of, like, her, the A side is that, it's more like the fight has to be, I guess, if Clarissa says the fight has to happen at 154, then the fight more realistically only can be made if Alycia agrees to Clarissa, right? Not the, but if that doesn't happen, because I know Clarissa's not going to 147, and if Alicia's very adamant about the idea of like 154 is already stretched for her, I mean, is there a potential way of a catch weight? Not saying dramatic, but
That is
like,
the catch weight. No, no, no. But
mhm,
the absolute minimal weight that Clarissa can make is 154 pounds. It's at the absolute
got it.
minimal. That's so it's not to do with A side, B side, C side, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do
Mhm.
with really what can happen. Clarissa can struggle, and we have to go on a very strict and stringent diet and a very difficult, straining workout schedule to make 154 pounds. And she would do it to make this mega fight happen if Alycia is up to it. And if Alycia is up to it, she should be respected. And that's that's a big move to go up and weight and fight someone as great as Clarissa. But so far, it's been all talk. To say that she's going to fight at 147 pounds is like saying no. It's one of the 99 ways of saying no. It's like Canelo calling out Anthony Joshua at 190 pounds or
Mhm.
200 pounds. Come on now. Okay, I'll go up 10. Okay, we can do it. We can do it at 205, man. We do it at 205. It's unrealistic. It's not a call out. It's just clickbait. It's 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 impossible. It's physically impossible. Clarissa should cut off her arm to fight at 147 pounds. It's unrealistic. And that's been a fact forever, for a long time. She's never made 147 pounds ever. She hasn't been 147 pounds probably since she's 14 years old. So it's like, what are you talking about? 154 is the lowest, and she hasn't been that weight in several years. Is the lowest she can make, and that's the only discussion we've ever had if it's really gonna happen. So
Got it. And
there's only one way to say yes and to make the fight, and there's 99 ways to say no, and only one way to say yes. And I'm quoting Don King. I know I may get some uh, heat for quoting Don King, but
nah.
where I come from, you have to quote the source of the quote. So Don King said it, and I think it's a great quote and very
So
useful in this scenario.
I'm just recapping, just laying the pure foundation. So the catch weight is 154, right? Because Clarissa clearly is above that. And then and in this instance, which maybe a lot of people look at Alycia saying, hey, she's jumping up a lot of weight. On
So don't do it.
Clarissa's,
Don't talk about it.
well,
But
I
then,
was just
but then,
saying, I was just saying on the flip
fine.
side, just to emphasize, Clarissa's doing the opposite, where she's dramatically going down. Like this is a
Yes.
huge deficit for her, and that not even 153 is an option. 154 is the pure limit. And if Alycia and her team really want to make the fight has to be at 154 or nothing.
Correct. And this is very important. Clarissa never started this discussion. She never said, "Hey, Alycia, come up to 154 pounds from whatever weight you're at. Let's make this fight happen." It was never Clarissa. Clarissa was always friendly to Alycia, always encouraged her, gave her on the come up, gave her opportunities, invited her to her fights, lined up with some press interviews, etc. So none of this is coming from Clarissa's side. The fight is not coming from Clarissa, is just responding to what Alycia is saying. So if you really want the fight and you really want to prove how good you are and test yourself, then that's what it has to be. It has to be at 154 pounds. It's just not realistic. If you're calling her out at any other weight than that, then you're not calling her out because it can't happen. Physically cannot happen. So that's it. It's a simple equation. And again, it is Alycia that has brought up all this talk. It is Alycia that brought up Clarissa yesterday on the interview and has been bringing her up while she was suspended. Uh, wasn't dealing with her suspension at that time, was calling out Clarissa. So all of it, 100%, all of it is coming from Alycia. So if you talk about it, then you got to take the responsibility, and there has to be some accountability for what you're saying. And she's a professional. She's a very good fighter. So you have to take upon yourself the responsibility that this is the way the fight can happen at. And if you can't do it, then then deal with your business and don't bring up Clarissa's name as a fight when you do interviews. That's
Now,
it.
my follow-up question is, I know you and Eddie Hearn have a great relationship, right? You guys have worked. many different times on many different type of not just fighters but fights. Um, have you spoke to Eddie at any point? Like, did you speak to him? Like, hey, let's go, let's get this going, right?
So uh, I have not spoken to Eddie about this. I don't think I've no, I have not spoken to Eddie about this. Uh, I was told to speak to our managers because I think that she had a promotional situation that wasn't clear. It's none of my business. I don't know. Uh, but I was told to speak to our managers, and our manager, I have absolutely no problem speaking with Eddie. Great relationship with Eddie, Frank Smith. Easy deal to make. So uh, uh, if Alycia wants it, it's an easy deal to make. If she doesn't want it, and if she's just talking, then it's impossible to make. So yes, Eddie and I have a great relationship. We made many big fights together, some that almost happened, many that did happen. Uh, so this will be no different.
You know, when it comes to the weight, right? This is obviously the first discrepancy of getting the fight made. But do you feel that, because in this sense, the fight would probably everyone talks about, hey, this would be a great Midwest fight, maybe a little Caesars Arena. I mean, clearly at this point, Clarissa would have to take, I mean, Alycia would have to take like the lesser money and come in. Do you think there's any concerns on like the financial thing? Like if it's not the weight, then the business side
So
went.
there's 99 ways to say no, only one way to say yes. If she says yes, I believe that she will still make a career high payday, and it obviously will elevate her legacy, uh, even to participate in a fight like this and elevate her brand for a long time to come, forever. She's from the area. She's from Ohio. Obviously has has significant support in the Detroit area, and seems to be that that's the natural place for that fight to happen. Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, 20,000, uh, beautiful big arena, and a great fight. Uh, and it's also meaningful from a historic point of view. Clarissa opened up the big building June 3rd last year, and now for Clarissa to bring this big fight to the city of Detroit, just another uh, ingredient in rejuvenating that historic boxing scene, and will be so healthy and so great for boxing in Detroit. And again, we'll be able to highlight and showcase some of the very talented fighters from the state of Michigan and from the city of Detroit on the undercard as we have done.
Obviously there's no numbers thrown around and not, you know, placing it, but if by all means, if she feels the fight financially should be 50-50, do you feel that the fight is a 50-50 financially or no, it's
I do not
clear?
think so. I don't. First of all, I don't negotiate online. Uh,
Smart man.
but it's not a 50-50 fight. I do believe that it'll be her career highest payday, and all the opportunities that she will get that will stay with her for the rest of her career will be immeasurable. But obviously, Clarissa Clarissa is the star, and Clarissa is not calling out Alycia. Alycia is calling out Clarissa, and Clarissa is the straw that stirs the drink of women's boxing. So for sure, it's not a 50-50 deal. But with that being said, Alycia should be compensated well. And what the definition of well is, we have to sit down and talk about.
Do you feel that this fight,
So let me say
because
this. So
oh,
sorry, let
go
me say
ahead.
this. 147 pounds, uh, pricing yourself out. All of these things are just ways of saying no. So there's just a certain realistic amount of money that is in this fight, and we'll all be on the same page. She'll know about it, and if she says no to that, like she wants the fight to happen at 147, 149 pounds, that's unrealistic. So that's just one of the ways of saying no. It's an easy fight to make. It's a great fight to make, but an easy fight to make. And so if Alycia really wants to make it happen, it can get done this week, fast and smooth.
Got it. I know that she has a fight coming up. She's going to do a mandatory against
Well, it's not coming up yet. There is a new entity that won the purse bid, which is a new company that no one has heard of before, uh, and so that fight is not done. I mean, you know what? This is such a big fight. Maybe the mandatory can wait. I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no.
mm,
We're working on a fight for Clarissa as well. Maybe it's such a big deal that that we put the other things aside, or we say, okay, both champions will have a fight in between, and then let's fight in September, October, November, December. So, you know.
I know that you've been around Clarissa for a long time, and she's proven not just what you've been saying right, but a lot of the doubters out there. But there's this very confidence energy where you're just like, hey, if we can probably stop that. The fight hasn't made with Delphine, so we can make that fight right now. Is it just like big confidence that you have that just Clarissa's just, or you also see that potentially this could be the biggest fight in women boxing history?
So I don't. Well, I don't know. So Clarissa has participated in two of the biggest women's fights in women's history. First versus Christina Hammer, which was the first time a women's fight was televised in the main event on Saturday night. That was on Showtime. And in the last fight, she beat Savannah Marshall, traveled to the homeland, thousands of miles away from Michigan to the UK to buckle down and take care of business. That she did the most watched women's sporting event of all time on Sky Sports. That tells a lot. That tells you a lot. And the most watched boxing event, I believe, since 2016. So there's a significant amount of interest in that fight. So will this be bigger than that? I don't know. I hope so. I mean, it'll be as big as it could be. I think it sells out Little Caesars Arena, which is a 20,000 seat arena. And I think, you know, sometimes you have to look beyond. I think making this fight happen will have ripple down positive effect on women's boxing all over the world, for sure.
All right. And my last set of questions, just not in regards to the female fighters, but I know that Ergashev was fighting Matias, which was a great fight. And Ergashev recently, I think, had a fight a return, and you have a great stable of fighters out in the Detroit area. What else is going on with Salita Promotions, and what can we look forward to?
So we have the Big Time Boxing USA series on the zone. We had our first show February 20th. You want to wait until it gets a little quieter? Is it loud? It's
no,
good?
it's good. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So we have the Big Time Boxing USA series in the zone. First show was February 20th. Next show was our last show was March 28th. Between the two shows, we showcased 5 well-rated fighters: Ali Ismailov, Adriel Holmes, in the last show, Shoji Kanagrashi, Vladimir Shishkin, Juan Carrillo, all incredibly talented with world championship in their future. And some of the best prospects, I believe, in boxing: Devell Smith, Joseph Hicks, Joshua Pagan is going to fight in the next one. So very excited about giving exposure to these very talented fighters and working with the zone, and you know, and getting the boxing community another outlet to watch great fights and great boxing. And my kind of business plan is to be inclusive, not to be exclusive, to work with promoters to make the biggest and the best fights for the boxers and for the fans. And I think that I've shown it through my career as a promoter, working with everybody, making the best fights for my fighters and for the sport of boxing. And we'll continue to do that.
Well, look, I appreciate the time, Dmitry. You know, I know you're very busy, and thanks for all the insight. And, you know, for the boxing world who's all excited for the fight, hopefully, fingers crossed that we can get this mega female fight together.
Thank you so much.